Hello, guys. Um, Welcome to another episode of our show. Please, guys, subscribe, like, and share, and so that we can, uh, discuss. Have many people viewing our discussion and also engaging with a lot of you. Today's topic we're gonna discuss top world best earners in terms of companies in the year 2022, the top performing companies. So, don't know if you have something to say, Joe.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the ten most profitable companies in 2021, 2022. And the first one is Berkshire Hathaway. So that's the company that is spearheaded by Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm,
And it's a company that makes compared to what it compare the revenue and profit, it makes profit um, top in all the companies in the world. So it has beaten all the mainstream companies that we know of: Amazon, Facebook,
mm-hmm,
Google, also Tesla and Microsoft.
mm-hmm,
And if you look at the company, it has invested in everyday type of businesses like utilities, things like gas,
mm-hmm,
water. It's invested in insurance. It's invested in transportation, finance,
mm-hmm,
manufacturing. And
mm-hmm,
if you think about it, companies like Tesla and Google, they mostly their space is mostly in technology,
mm-hmm,
whereby you find that Berkshire and Hathaway company, it's invested in almost all the industries
mm-hmm,
that exist. And if you look at, other than just utilities, it 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 has other services like casualty insurance,
mm-hmm,
insurance and reassurance. So it buys with reassurance, it buys insurance companies to insure itself.
mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the reasons why it's so successful.
You're saying it
It's
buys insurance companies and then it to insure
it,
itself.
it uses those insurance companies to insure itself. So that's
Okay.
called reassurance.
Mm-hmm,
So you find that it's business. Warren Buffett is known for knowing companies that can be profitable or not. He's known
mm-hmm.
for buying companies
So having
and
that eye.
yeah, he's known for buying companies, and if a company is dying, he can buy it and make it profitable.
Mm-hmm,
And that's something he's been doing, for a very long time. And he also has, I think he has shares in companies like Coca-Cola,
mm-hmm,
Microsoft. Probably we don't know he has shares in companies that are running like Amazon,
mm-hmm,
because he has good relationships with these people. And I think Warren Buffett as an individual, he's very intelligent. He talks about how much he reads a lot of books.
mm-hmm.
He's always reading, always studying. He's always improving his knowledge, and I think that's why a company like the company is spearheading. Berkshire is very, very profitable.
You,
And maybe Josh, you can tell us like the profit
yeah.
margins.
When we were looking at this thing, I was a bit shocked because, when I listen to the news, I only hear Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk,
Mm.
and Zuckerberg. But you look at this top 10 list, even Facebook is not there. So Tesla is not there. The only guy who I hear a lot and who's there is Jeff Bezos, but he's also not in the yeah, he's not also in the top five. So I found it very interesting that you know Warren Buffett company, it's up there. So I had to ask myself, then does it really mean the people who probably we think are rich? I'm not saying they're not rich, but they're probably there's a overhypeness of, because if you look at a company like Berkshire Hathaway, no, please forgive me, probably I might have pronounced it wrongly, but I'll try my best to pronounce it the best I can. Its revenue is like 270 billion, and billion dollars annually, and the profit is almost 80 to 87 billion annually. So if you look at the profit margin and the uh, the the money it makes and the profit, um what can I say? Warren Buffett company almost makes close to a half of the total sum of money made. So yet he's number 7 in the world ranking, but his company, it's one of the most prestigious company. It had me thinking, how are these people gauging wealth, and how are they trying to, you know, how comes Elon Musk is number 1? And I can understand there's some aspect of shares, but it brings a lot of more questions than answers. So it means what the theory that has always been going on, that Warren Buffett is a very intelligent guy, a good businessman. I hear the Berkshire Hathaway, he is the CEO. He owns shares in Coca-Cola, in Heinz, in a lot of companies. So it's just propagate the theory. He's a board member in Microsoft. There's a time I had Bill Gates in an interview saying that when he was told to meet Warren Buffett, actually it's his parents who are organizing that meeting for Bill Gates to meet Warren Buffett. He didn't take Warren Buffett that meeting as a serious meeting. It's like me telling you go and meet someone you've not known, that so you wouldn't take it highly. Even Bill Gates was saying to him he didn't even want to go to the meeting because it felt like he why am I meeting this guy? But immediately he met Warren Buffett and they started talking. Hey, he realized this guy is a bit different from. Yeah, he came to appreciate even though he was being pushed to meet Warren Buffett. So, and from that moment on, you can see even for Bill Gates to allow Warren Buffett to become a board member. I'm sure it's not up to Bill Gates because the other board members, but for them even to agree this guy needs to come here, and also it means he's a very strategic. He knows where to invest, especially coming from a post-pandemic, and his company is revenue is 276 billion. It's crazy. So
Yeah, it's crazy. And if you look at
and he's a humble
someone like
guy. I think he's one of the most even humblest billionaires. He says he still lives in the same house.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think mainstream is pushing innovation more than things like smart investment.
Mm-hmm.
We're being made to believe that the top innovators are they're the most influential people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think us, being in a different country, you find that in America, probably Warren Buffett is the most influential person in terms of decision making, markets.
Mm-hmm.
Probably even contracted by the government to make decisions
Mm-hmm.
about reviving, maybe during COVID, he was a key person to make sure that companies don't fail.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the mainstream guys, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and these guys, they're more into technology than any other
Mm-hmm.
sector. And they're surrounded by people who are strategists and people who know how to make decisions for Facebook and these big companies. But Warren Buffett himself, he's proven to us even in this discussion that he's actually the guy you need to be looking at when you're thinking about
Mm-hmm.
even business direction,
Mm-hmm.
how to make decisions,
Mm-hmm.
how to maneuver in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because a very big profit margin, 80 something, is it
Yeah, the
89
total
billion
the, the
almost
total the total money they make per year,
yeah, profit
2022, it's 276 billion. The profit, it's 89 billion. That's
89 billion, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's, if you count that one up to a billion, that's cash.
Yeah, and
It's cash in
the,
the pocket.
and people might try to think why he's not Jeff Bezos, but Jeff Bezos company makes 400 billion, but the profit is 30 billion. So
Yeah,
that's kind of that's how we are gauging why.
that's how we gauge it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I also
it
think the
means
statistics. Yeah,
it means a company like Amazon is investing in companies that don't produce as much profit as the companies that
it has a lot of liabilities.
yeah. And if you talk about the richest man, you find that someone like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, their money is held up in stock prices, shares.
Mm-hmm.
So their money is based on whether someone is going to buy shares or sell shares. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
look at why Elon Musk became $300 billion rich,
Mm-hmm.
it was because a certain, I think it was a hospitality company that bought,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a large number of Teslas. I think it was probably, I
Yeah,
think it was
they bought 100,000
quite significant
companies.
number of Teslas that were
Yeah,
being ordered
for the
by,
company.
yeah, for the, for use as taxis, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that shot Elon Musk's stock price to be high. But if you look at, probably, if Tesla is not even in the top list of companies that are profitable,
Mm-hmm.
people should start looking at these facts and these details, so that they can actually make guided decisions when they're even making their own decisions in business.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, as much as technology and innovation is the lead in the world,
Mm.
seems like basic things like buying and selling, gas and
Mm.
electricity
Even
and
agriculture,
water.
this list also has things to do with agriculture, construction,
Yeah,
things
agriculture,
that we
construction.
thought that are
Yeah,
not
that,
valuable anymore.
and if you think about it, those are the things that hide
Mm-hmm.
in plain sight. If you look at construction, you
Yeah.
look at a road being constructed, and you won't think about the person who's being contracted to
Mm-hmm.
to build the road. You won't think about the person who's supplying the materials for building the road. And if you talk about roads before, we won't think about the person who's supplying supermarkets, the person
Mm-hmm.
who's producing cooking oil, the person who's producing cooking gas,
Mm-hmm.
the person who's transporting the cooking gas and the cooking oil across the country. Those are the businesses that are the most profitable, according to what we've seen with Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try, it makes sense why Kenya, if you try to start a technology company for building computers, it will be long before it takes off, because not many people buy computers as
Mm-hmm.
much as people buy cooking gas and things like
Mm.
food.
Oh, guys wanna
You
live.
know,
Everyone wants a shelter, so
yeah,
for sure, construction
someone,
companies will make money.
yeah, if someone has
Yeah,
money and they don't have food, they don't prioritize buying a cell phone before they buy food.
food. Yeah.
And that's why you find that even in this list, you won't hear companies like Tesla, or
Mm-hmm.
technology companies like Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about Apple, but Apple, it's unique because
Mm-hmm.
of its strategy. But you find that even if you're starting a business, you need
Mm-hmm.
to think about yourself. You can think about, what do I use every day?
Mm-hmm.
I use electricity, I use water,
Mm-hmm.
I use what's it called? Food, cooking oil. Those are the things that now you should start thinking about when you're starting a business to actually invest in.
And
Yeah.
I noticed that this list is well balanced in terms of there are technology companies, there are manufacturing companies,
Mm,
there
mm,
are engineering companies. A company like Toyota
mm,
is on the list. So
mm,
for me, what it confirmed to me is that all sectors of life are still relevant even in 2022. Because if you look at this list, everyone is represented. If you're in the farming business, the list is here. If you're in the
mm,
construction, if you're in the manufacturing engineering, the list is. If you're in the tech, the list is here.
mm,
So and insurance and banking, actually they are the majority here. So it shows that since time immemorial, we've known that insurance, Shylocks, if you tax collectors, if you're a person who's read the Bible, a lot of you see here about tax collection and those things.
mm,
And
mm,
since time immemorial, those institutions have always had money. So a
mm,
lot hasn't changed as much as we think a lot has changed. Because if you look at this list, even though it's diverse, the primary uh, the primary institutions that still have money are the insurances, the banking sector. Somehow it's still
yeah.
the same guys. Because if you look at some company like Berkshire Hathaway, it operates as an insurance or like a banking. It's not.
Mm.
It operates. You know, i-
Different
yeah.
industries in the same company.
It's like a small BlackRock. An upcoming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's operating. You know, tangible cash like a
yeah,
bank.
yeah, yeah.
So
And if you think about it, the person who's the CEO,
yeah,
Warren Buffett. I don't know if he's the CEO still, but
yeah, he's the
the way
CEO.
how they are issuing funds to companies, they're not
Mm-hmm.
just they're not taking unnecessary risks. If you look at uh like the way they strategies to buy a company, to invest in a company,
Mm-hmm.
I think the analysis they do in a company is very, very thorough.
Very.
They check if you want to be absorbed by Berkshire Hathaway, you have to have very good books.
Mm.
You have to have know how you're spending your money,
Your
how
money.
money is coming in and going out, and that's how they make predictions to see whether you're going to
Mm.
be profitable or not.
Mm.
And if you look at,
One thing I've noticed, if you notice,
and
like
they're doing hundreds of companies.
the structure of Warren Buffett, it looks like he's the one who for him to establish this conglomerate is like he's the one who took the most risk. Because also, buying companies that are dying and structuring them, it's a very, very big risk in terms of.
Mm,
It means he has an eye for for business. There's a time I was seeing his interview and he was saying that if you read the newspaper, you'll never buy stock, you'll never invest because
mm,
newspapers and he wasn't just saying about the newspaper, he was saying also the media, social media. They always paint to gloom things, and if things are good, they always overhype him. He's the same guy who says, if guys are greedy, don't be greedy. If guys
mm,
are
mm,
not greedy, be greedy. So it means if guys are
mm,
going to a certain field or another way of making money, then you shouldn't do that because that field is already saturated. So it seems that Warren Buffett always has an eye for looking for the less saturated but with the best potential kind of,
mm,
yeah,
mm. Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
business. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I think you should take a lesson from Warren Buffett. It means that you need to, if you want to really make money, you need to look at the environment. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
What's buying what? You need to be at the front line where you know what's being bought, what's not being bought.
Mm-hmm.
Because assuming because Facebook and then you try because Facebook made it and then you try to create your own Facebook, you might fail. But if you look at everyday moving goods, you're probably going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And if even if you look at normal environments, um, I find that people go to supermarkets to buy the same products all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Food, ingredients for cooking,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But people don't usually buy all the time computers and phones and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Warren Buffett is trying to tell us that if you're serious about business, you need to look at uh, an analysis of what you're going to invest in. Is it
Mm-hmm.
really worth it, or are you just doing guesswork?
and,
Because
and
he's showing that he's not guessing. Even if he's taking a risk, it's a calculated risk.
at risk. And that shows also that data is very important, and that's why you have this data to demystify that now data brings in facts. It
Yeah,
demystifies
yeah.
the theory.
The theory, yeah.
I don't want us to go to the second institution, which
Number
is
two, yeah.
yeah, the Industrial Commercial Bank of China. I don't know if you can say something about uh,
Sorry, I think it's called
ICBC.
ICBC. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So Industrial Commercial Bank, they
bank.
do. It was started.
No,
Let's just give me a second.
okay.
So the bank was started.
The
It was founded in,
2011.
it's very interesting for the bank. It was founded in 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and it's number two in the global, leadership of companies that are very profitable. I
Mm-hmm.
hope I hope my video is clear on your end.
Yeah, it's clear. It's very
Okay.
clear.
So if you look at ICBC, it was founded in 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a Chinese company. And what they do, corporate banking, personal
Mm-hmm.
banking, treasury operations, things like that. And they give out loans. They do things like wealth management,
Mm-hmm.
even I'm seeing here custody activities. So it means a company like ICBC is a company that is also operating somehow like Brookshire Hathaway.
But I feel it's more focused on the construction kind of aspect.
Yeah,
The
I think yeah, it knows where to give loans, who to
Yeah,
give loans to, where it's most profitable. It also does a lot of calculated risk management,
risk
and it also
management,
does personal banking, meaning that the environment of China is very conducive for
for
finance.
finance.
It means that a bank like this can issue out loans easily. Track its the people who is it has lended to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at an environment like China, things like paying back loans is very, very serious.
Mm-hmm.
They operate as a unit, and
As
you
a
find
unit.
that if people are given money to do a business, they actually do the business. And China also has an ecosystem of manufacturing, so
Mm-hmm.
and in construction. So you find that people are very well versed in construction management and things like that. So this company is at the top. It's at the top of the
Oh,
people
yeah.
who are lending
Yeah.
out
And
to infrastructure.
one thing I found it funny is because China last year had an issue of last year and early this year, Evergrande, one of the biggest construction companies in the world, defaulted defaulted its loan, and it has left many people that had, in China they have this system of construction where you are cut a salary even before you see the house. So let's say if you are
Yeah.
if you want to get a house in your area, but the construction company says we are going to make a 3 bedroom houses apartments here, so we're going to be cutting you monthly salary. By the time we
Mm.
finish, the construction will be over, we just move to that house. So this
Yeah.
company
Yeah.
had overcommitted to many people.
Mm. Yeah.
So what happened is that they constructed so many apartments, so until they broke the bubble, the real
Mm.
estate
Mm.
bubble. And now, they were in a crisis because now the projects were ongoing, but they didn't have the money to continue the projects, and they defaulted, and they were declared non-redundant. So even most people even now don't have houses. So many projects have been left like empty. Like you find like a whole area. The constructions has just become stale. It's not going on anymore. And I
Mm.
found it interesting that even though there's a construction crisis and a real estate crisis in China, these banks still managed to pull number two
Mm.
as 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 a very just number two after Buckinghamshire. Yet there
Yeah.
is because Evergrande wasn't a small company. It was the biggest, if not one of the biggest construction
Yeah.
company in the world.
Yeah.
So for this bank to still come up and become number two, I think the Chinese are very I don't know, because
They're
all
very industrious. I think it's because of the type of government and governance in China. It's not, it's, it's, um,
mm,
it's like one unit. They operate as one unit.
I need
If they agree on something,
yeah.
they do it together. And if you look at ICBC, the profit margin is around 25%
Uh-huh.
of the total revenue. And
Yeah,
if you
the
look at
total
Warren
revenue
Buffett,
is
it's
200
almost,
billion. The
yeah.
profit is 52 billion.
Yeah,
And
and if you look at Warren Buffett, it's almost 50%.
50%. But now
Yeah,
the trick comes that you look at Warren Buffett company, total assets are 950 billion. But
yeah,
now the Chinese company, total assets are 5.5 trillion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and one thing people need to know is that Warren Buffett company was founded in 1939.
Mm.
The Chinese one was founded in 2011.
2011.
Yeah,
That's like
so
that's like someone who
12
was
years
born,
to 11 years
someone who you're 8 years old, but someone who's 12 years old is doing better than you in life.
than you. Because no matter how much say Warren Buffett company is doing well, total the assets now become a game changer because
Yeah, yeah,
if ICBC controls assets was 5.5 trillion, Germany as a country, their total GDP is 3.8 trillion. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
just gives you an idea. So if this bank was to become a country, probably to become number three.
yeah.
Number three.
Yeah, number three. And if you look
Yeah.
at the way these guys are operating, they're really investing in their own people. That money is not even
Yeah.
coming out of China. Most
Mhm.
of it is not coming out. Those assets, even if it's 5.5 trillion, you might find that a majority percentage of the assets they have
Are
doesn't come from
inside
outside of
China.
China. Yeah,
Uh,
everything they're earning is from within China. So it shows how governance can really, really,
mm.
fuel a company's success.
And and
And if
and
you
it,
look at
oh, sorry.
the ICBC company, they
ICBC.
must
Mhm.
have huge support from the government.
Mhm.
They are very well supported. They're allowed to operate. They're allowed to invest. They're allowed to give out loans. They're allowed to make as much as they can because it benefits the government directly.
Mhm.
And ICBC is like something now you can't even know what's going on there because it's Chinese. They're not going to
Mm.
reveal
And
their
there's something I read
strategy.
about foreigners owning property in real estate. There's an article I read that it's not that straightforward. Apparently, if you're a foreigner, you are only allowed one residential home,
Mm,
and it's not for business.
mm.
That
It's
that's
for staying, not for
Yeah.
rent.
So all foreigners in China do not own any business, any real estate for business. You can't be a landlord in China. You
Mm,
allowed a one residential house. Even they calculate the plot, how big the plot is supposed to be.
mm,
Yeah, and then that's it. So it will be like you are when you fly to China now, you can stay there, but you cannot conduct any
mm.
business. So that's
Yeah,
real
yeah,
estate for. So it goes back to what you're saying, that even most of the sponsors or most of the customers of this construction bank and this real estate are just the Chinese themselves. Because
yeah,
as a
yeah,
foreigner, you can't own property there.
yeah. You know, and you have to look at their population. They are
Mm-hmm.
of 1 billion. So you see that, market availability. People wanting banking services, people want
Mm-hmm.
loans, people want to do all this kind of industrial things. They need
Mm-hmm.
money. They need to store that money. They need, credit system. They
Mm-hmm.
need all those things. And this bank is, it's at the top,
Mm-hmm.
and it's supporting, probably hundreds of thousands, not probably millions of businesses, millions of factories.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably involved in the factories that produce computers,
Mm-hmm.
cars, clothes, other items like small items like even pencils and spoons,
Mm-hmm.
and it's involved in all these, industries and everything. Because, corporate banking, it's probably a very big thing
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
China. Everyone is starting a company. China
And
is
and
considered, because they're the labor force of the world.
the one thing, going through this ICBC bank, industrial construction bank of China, it got me thinking. All the projects you are seeing mushrooming all over the world, the Belt and Road Initiative, all this construction.
Mm.
Could this be the guy who's doing it? The
Most
institution that,
most probably,
yeah,
most probably.
all over Africa,
All these loans that they're
yeah,
giving out,
especially
yeah,
in
coming
construction
from this
bases,
bank.
the roads, the bridges, the factories,
Yeah, yeah,
because they're overworking. Like, China
yeah,
is like China is like a game changer. Because I was looking back at when Kenya or Africa was under British and French colonial, and you could
yeah,
notice that since the projects that were done, no new project has been done. But
yeah,
China
yeah.
came to Africa very well. Like now, when it's solidified, China has always been uh, dealing with Africa, but now they decided to, to expand that relationship to another level. Just in the early year 2000, 2004, that's when now they started penetrating in Africa. But the level of construction that has happened in less than 18 years is way more than even during the colonial period and post-colonial period. Like,
Yeah.
China have really become a game changer, especially if you stay in Africa and you see China are like, and it's not even purely on other things. It's purely just construction, like
Mm. Infrastructure,
exactly infrastructure, railways.
railways, hospitals, roads, cities,
These guys are no
transport
jokes.
systems, even ferry maritime. They're even
Yeah,
building islands.
I
They're building ships. They're doing, and it's not they're just building. They're building it in a very short period.
mhm,
It's like these guys. If you look at, some of these documentaries like Megastructures, the way these guys build things, they
mhm,
have a segmented type of building whereby if it's a bridge, they construct it, part of it somewhere, and then they have a vehicle that transport a segment.
mhm,
And then on the site, they just add the segment, solder it or connect it to, it's a kind of factory-like assembly of infrastructure. If it's a
mhm,
house, recently we started seeing China, they're building entire skyscrapers in 3 4 days.
mhm,
They're building, like during COVID period, they build hospitals in only a matter of days. And it was
mhm,
that kind of thing where they have a factory that produces like a space, for example, a cube, and
mhm,
then they take those cubes and assemble them into a very big building.
mhm,
And that kind of industrious, coordination,
mhm,
it's what's making a company like ICBC open up in 2011 and become number two in the world
mhm.
in less than
because
15,
because Warren
even
Buffett
less than,
company has almost 100 years, and this
yeah,
is and that also gets me thinking. That's why you see there's so much panic in the western side of
yeah,
the
yeah,
Americans, the British,
yeah,
because how China has come out, it's so aggressive in terms of even getting
yeah,
clients. The Chinese way is more of if you're taking if you're a government and you're taking money from the Western institution, they
yeah,
are
yeah,
like issues that there are guidelines that you have to follow for them to give you money.
Mm.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
China doesn't have, because also them they want you to follow something, but China seems to be, they are not harsh, as long as
Mm.
they won't interfere with your politics. And that's why you see even now, even the Western countries, the Europeans, they are scrambling up also to start, they have their own projects called Build Better World. They're investing, they
Mm.
want to invest 500 billion into Africa and other, they want to form their own Belt and Road project,
Initiative.
yeah,
Mm.
initiative, but it comes at the backdrop of China being very aggressive. And in life, when you're trying to catch up with someone, that's the most dangerous tactic you can use to
Mm.
to do your things. You're supposed to do your things in your own way, not try to catch up. Because now, if you're trying to catch up with a country like China, China first of all has like 20 years of of financing projects that are far from their mainland.
Mm. Mm.
So probably the first project that they did in Africa and these other countries didn't do well. But now they kept on doing, because also, even if you have that money as a country, you still have no expertise in coordinating. Like you're saying,
Yeah.
China can build a hospital in 30, 15 days. So it means
Mm.
they've established that coordination of doing things. So if this bank can come and fund some projects, it means the projects are a go ahead from the start to the finish.
Yeah, and I think they have a very good hold, or maybe they have a formula of what economics means.
Mm-hmm.
They know that if you build infrastructure, if you have a world-class infrastructure and financial systems, and all these systems that
Mm-hmm.
we usually ignore, not even ignore, but we usually see as invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Banking financial system in a country is very efficient, whereby anyone can access finances to do a business and produce. It's all about production. Even if you look at how China produces food, they even started harvesting from deserts. They've started
They're turning their
creating,
deserts now to.
yeah, even water.
Mm-hmm.
They have discovered ways of making
Mm-hmm.
uh, water vapor freeze and become a source of water in people who live in deserts. And
Mm-hmm.
you find that this kind of invisible type of industries are the ones that are pushing, not pushing, but they're the ones that are
Mm-hmm.
running the country. You might think that China is all about factories, but there are probably other industries that
Mm-hmm.
are working so hard to to make China a superpower. Because a superpower is all about the country that produces the most advanced technology and services and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, and an economy that whose currency is it's stable.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at China, they're constantly producing, they're constantly taking up factories. Recently Tesla moved to China.
Mm-hmm.
Apple moved to China probably in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things we use, Dell, HP, all these companies, all of them moved to China because China has cheap labor. It has advanced skills.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Chinese kids, they're being brought up already being taught how to use 3D printers. Someone
Mm-hmm.
who's 3 years old already knows how to design computer aided design, and print them on 3D and manufacture something
Mm-hmm.
at 3 years old. And
You know,
even
you
their
know,
TikTok,
there's a
even
friend
the
of mine. Sorry
uh,
to cut you off. There's a friend of mine who, she's doing a master's in Beijing on political science and I think international relations. She was telling me in the class, because I was asking her what's her plan after that and every, just a normal discussion. And she was telling me she's in a class where even guys have even like 4 masters. That's the level. I'm not saying that
that's the level,
you
yeah.
should have 4 masters, but my point is that that's the level. That's how the Chinese are thinking, and people are shocked why they are taking over the world. People are
Mm,
they are hungry. They are
mm.
hungry
Yeah,
for knowledge
and they're
and to
not just
be,
hungry.
yeah,
They're hungry and they're working on it. They're
uh,
hungry and they're applying.
yeah. The hunger
Even if
is real.
yeah,
Mhm.
you might find that China, before it started manufacturing things in the probably 1970s, 1950s, they probably didn't know about. Okay, they had a system where science
Mhm.
there's science, there's mathematics, but the way it's applied in the modern world, they probably did not have that.
Mhm.
But the moment they started learning and applying, because even China, I remember when we were in primary school, we used to see those China phones, the ones that
Mhm.
had a TV, and it
Mhm.
was a phone
An
and you could
aerial.
call. But a company like Nokia did
Mm.
not produce such kind
And
of
no,
TVs
the funny thing,
because
people laughed at those phones. If that time you had a China phone, you're called cheap,
yeah, you're
fake.
called cheap,
Yeah.
and if you think about it,
But
that
now
phone
most of the
was
world is using Chinese phone. Even Apple is
yeah,
losing the market
yeah.
share now. All these
Huawei
phones,
is a
yeah,
company that started. Huawei started in, I think, around that time.
yeah. And now it's
So it's
even threatening
more than
Apple.
50
It's
years old.
even being sanctioned because the Americans are
Yeah,
like, no, 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 no. This
yeah.
company is coming too fast.
Yeah, and if you look at Chinese, they you know, if you look at a bank like ICBC, you find that that's how they're, you know, you need money to make advanced things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't just assume someone will become profitable just by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to things like technology.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, you know, you're even telling me that Chinese started buying machines from Germany for mass production.
Yeah,
They started buying, you know, equipment for factories,
yeah,
producing metal, producing, you know, chips,
yeah.
producing wires, and producing, you know, synthesizing and processing raw materials
Mm-hmm.
for producing, you know, all these things that we're seeing, glass for mobile phones, you know, storage systems, all these things. I think they started studying. They applied their thousands of years of knowledge to now learning
And
how this
Chinese,
modern world is operating.
and Chinese always believe in that saying of bide your time. Like if you're not
Yeah,
in strength, just
yeah,
lay down,
yeah,
and people will
yeah,
come and recognize your strength because now, if you went 15 years ago, this list will be dominated by American and Western companies,
yeah,
and probably some few in Japan. And
yeah.
but this list, as we talk now, the list has the list has uh, 2,000 profitable companies, but
Mm,
uh, more than 500 are American, more than 300 are
mm,
Chinese,
mm.
and those are the countries.
100, more than 100 are Japanese.
Are Japanese
Even Africa is not,
is not
like,
there.
Africa is not a game player.
Yeah, even
They're
the
not
biggest
playing this
companies
game.
in Africa, and no, it's
Mm.
not. I'm just want to focus on the Chinese aspect in terms of 10, 15 years ago. You'll not find a Chinese company in this list.
You'll never hear about.
Yeah,
In fact, before Kibaki, you'd never hear about China.
yeah. You never
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
a
Even on the news CNN, you'd never hear China is doing anything
Mhm,
significant. But all of a sudden, you know, you're hearing China is even telling America, "You can't tell us what to do,"
mhm,
because we need each other to the point that if you go against me, if you go against each other, we both lose. So
mhm,
China is like it's like having you can't live without a lungs if you're a heart. You know,
mhm,
you need kidneys, you need the liver. So
mhm,
China is it's part of the ecosystem of the world where it's very essential. It's like,
mhm,
you know, it's like the liver of the world or something like that. It's the worker. It's the guy who sustains the production of the world. You know, when it comes
mhm,
to even shipping, maritime shipping, China ships a lot
mhm.
of products.
Uh, I think we're done. Can we talk about the third one now?
Yeah, can talk
The
about the third one.
the Saudi Arabian oil company, Saudi
Yeah,
Aramco.
I think there we just for Saudi
Yeah,
Aramco.
everyone understand where the money comes from.
Yeah, Saudi
It comes from
Aramco is a
oil.
company that deals with exploration, production, transportation, and sale of crude oil and natural gas.
Mhm,
So these are the guys who discovered oil, and then, you know, they're not number three because of oil. It's
mhm,
not because of that. It's because they had oil, they had so much of it, but they were able to coordinate themselves and utilize the resource, the money they get from oil, to continue expanding their assets and wealth. Because if you look at Nigeria has more oil than Saudi Arabia, but Nigeria is failing. So Saudi Aramco is, yes, it's an oil company, but they coordinated themselves in a way that they can continue being profitable. Are you
mhm.
still there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
there.
sorry. Yeah, so you find that Saudi Aramco is, it's another, you know, strategy game player. You know, these guys understand the game of
Mhm.
energy. They know that you know, they're probably the ones who mine their own oil,
And
the ones
there's
who
an
package
article.
it.
I read that when it comes to oil, Saudi Arabia are the best in oil production in terms of
Mm,
it's the only country in the world that has had experience in oil mining and exploration, that they've
mm,
managed to make their oil very cheap in terms of
yes.
no, not in terms because they want to sell it. So the selling the oil is not cheap, but the means of production of getting the oil is very cheap because
Mm,
they've had experience in mining the oil. So they have their own system of mining the oil in that they mine the oil at a very cheap cost, but they sell it at the market price. So that's why you can
yeah,
see
yeah.
Saudi Aramco is here, and one might ask themselves, why aren't the other companies here? Yet they make uh, so much money. So that's one of the reason. And another reason is, as you say, it's because of of the fact they are good managers of wealth. Because if you look at a country like Nigeria, Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the world, but Venezuela, it's a bankrupt country right now. So it means Saudi Arabia understands some kind of aspect. And I feel also that the fact Saudi Arabia is in when at the growing stages, it used the American expertise to understand how the oil environment and the oil economics play around. Also, that played a very big advantage to Saudi Arabia, because now they got expertise from America to come and show them. But as we speak now, Saudi Aramco is one of the most profitable companies in the world. Even people might remember there's a time the Saudi Arabian state wanted to sell the company. The company was
Yeah.
being the company was being valued at 2 trillion.
Yeah.
Yeah, $2 trillion. Yeah, and you can see that their revenue is 400 billion, and their profit is 105 billion. So
Yeah.
they,
That's 25% again. Like
yeah,
them and ICBC is they have left each other with a couple of percentages,
yeah, a couple of. But
a few
the reason
points.
why the ICBC is still for me ranks better is because it's not depending on a mineral. It's more of an actual kind of business. But
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
way, Saudi Aramco is one of the most profitable
Yeah,
companies of
it's a very impressive portfolio for a company of energy to be number 3 in the
yeah.
world. In the world means the whole the whole 7 billion people. There's a group of people who've managed their resources so well. They're number 3
Mhm,
profitable in the world. Yeah, and these are the type of companies that they still research deeper and deeper into how to produce and how to mine, how to build those the mining equipment,
mhm,
the training, even they're the people who spearhead. If you want to learn petroleum engineering,
mhm,
you learn, some of the courses maybe come from Saudi Aramco.
mhm,
the pioneers in what they do.
mhm,
And you might find that even if they're pioneers, they're still the leaders. They do the whole cycle. They have good governance, good investments.
mhm,
They're a company you'd want to buy shares in. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I feel like a company like Saudi Aramco, when it comes to even petroleum engineering, if you want to learn something to do with oil mining, and I'm not saying the other institutions are not good, but I believe the Saudis can give can give you a better understanding. There's a thing I was seeing that the Saudi Arabian where they are now because of oil and everything. Uh, there's someone who was saying that I don't know if it's true, but there's someone who went to an official of the Saudi government and told them, boss, we just found 30 billion cubic meters of oil, eh, eh, and the officials was like, that's a small oil. There is no need to
Yeah.
dig that one.
There's no need to mine it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how much they pull.
yeah,
These guys even probably have ships that distribute the oil.
yeah,
They have all this, and they're probably the people who came up with the idea of a barrel.
yeah,
Like oil per barrel, because a barrel, I don't know how many liters is a barrel. Probably
yeah.
40 liters.
They even the one who made the dollar strong because of the petrodollar
Yeah,
system. They
yeah,
link the
because of,
oil,
yeah,
yeah, with the
yeah,
dollar.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I think we should.
Yeah, we should end it then.
Yeah,
Continue
yeah.
part 2.